Hello, hello, Leona here. Jumping on in. Happy Wednesday. It is time for our Wednesday Lunch and Learn. So happy you could join me today. And today we are talking about how we can improve our Shopify stores, right? So we really want to be able to improve our Shopify stores, making sure that they are fast. So that helps us to improve our conversion rate. So thank you for joining me today, and I want to welcome you. Um, and so we are talking about how to speed up your Shopify store, and and this is really the non-technical guide. So this, if you're new to owning a Shopify store, or you don't really know much about, how to speed up your store, we're going to give you some great tips and tricks that will help you to make sure that your Shopify store is as fast as it can be. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is just talk about the whys, and that is why you want to improve the speed of your store. Okay, so when it comes to your website, one of the reasons why people end up leaving soon, or leaving when they get to your website, not staying all the way through to a conversion, is because one of the reasons is because the store loads too slowly. The pages load too slowly. Now, a lot of people, they think about like the Google page speed test that you can do, and they think their entire page has to load quickly, or their site in its entirety has to load quickly. But really, it's that top portion of your page that needs to load as quickly as possible, really no less than like two seconds. Okay, so for every second that your site takes to load, actually decreases your conversion rate. So obviously, we want it to be as fast as possible. Okay. So, our conversion rate, that's really what we've been focused on for a couple of weeks here, which is just, the fact is that if we improve our conversion rate, then we get more from the dollars that we spend in our advertising. We don't need to pump our website full of traffic. If our site actually converts really well, we can then scale, because we know that we have a healthy conversion rate, and driving more traffic in means more money for us, not necessarily a ton of money going back out for the advertising. Okay. So, if you have a Shopify store, this is going to be great for you. Great tips. And we're going to kind of just take a non technical look at how to speed up your Shopify store. Okay. So, let's go. All right. So, one of the things that really can slow down a Shopify store is your images, okay? And so with your images, you want to be able to optimize them for the right format, with the right format, right? So, for example, when you're uploading your images to your website, or you're working on your images in Canva, per se, then JPEG is the best format for photographs. Okay. So even though you have opportunities to use things like PNGs and things like that, JPEGs are going to be great for your photographs. While PNG is good for images, they require that require transparency. Stick to these formats and these sizes. That'll help to keep your size manageable. Okay, so if you have just a straight photograph, save it as a JPEG. If you have images, right? Maybe it has, you've added some backgrounds, you've done this, you've done that, then you want to save as a PNG. Okay. But JPEG is going to be your best for photographs. Okay. Now, the other thing is to compress your images. Okay. So when you work on an image, you may be working at a very high, rate that you can, great quality, but you need to actually compress your images. And there are tools out there like Tiny PNG that will help you to compress your images without sacrificing quality, right? So, when you're compressing them, you're saying, like, hey, look at this great high quality image. And we're saying, like, we don't necessarily need to show 100% high quality image on the web because that slows down our speed. You can take that to like 75% or something of that nature, and you have the ability to control that and really understand the quality of images by using a tool like tiny png. Canva also allows you to save jpegs in a lower quality. Okay, so I want you to think of that as some ways that you can improve the speed of your site based on the images. So one is optimizing the image using the right format, and then compressing your images. Okay. Now, the next one I see is oftentimes I see it happening, which is using proper dimensions. Okay. So, for example, let's say that your website, offers a 300 by 300 image, or maybe 500 by 500 image on your collection pages, or even your product pages, and people are uploading like 2000 by 2000, or these humongous size files that maybe they got straight from a designer. Well, that image could be used on a billboard and radio and television. I mean, like, it's just so big that it doesn't really make sense to upload it as is to your website, because the load time of that page is going to be so long. So if you actually crop your images to, or save them, you can take your large images and you can put them right into Canva, and then you can resize. Okay, so you could say resize this, copy and resize, and then you tell them how big you want it. And so each theme has different sizes for images. Um, and what you want to do is make sure that you understand what size your theme offers for images. So even if you have a hero graphic, right? That hero graphic could be 400, or 750 by 400 or something like that, 750 wide by 400, in height. And you upload this, 3000 by 4000, image. It's like, it's gonna take so long to load, but you could really speed that up if you just understood the sizes of the image requirements throughout your theme. Okay, so if you're like, okay, my hero graphics on my homepage are 750 by 400, write it down. And then anytime you're creating images for that hero graphic, you're going to make sure you use that. I like to create a template, so I would create a template in Canva that, it's 750 by 400. I save that, and anytime I want to create a hero graphic for my Shopify store for my hero, I'm going to just drag that image into that size, so I know it's going to come down and be cropped to the exact size that I need it. And then, even at that time, that's when I get to say I want to save it as a JPEG and lower the quality and save, right? So you're knocking out all of these things to improve your site and increase the speed. Okay. Now, that is about images. So that's three tips, right? One, optimize for the right format. And it's photographs is JPEG, and images, any other type of images, is going to be PNG. And then compress your images. You have an option to compress JPEGs in Canva, but you can also use a tool such as Tiny PNG to decrease the size of those images, causing them to load faster. And then use your proper dimensions. Understand the size of the images that are in your theme. And, when you're actually creating images to put on your website, you want to save them in the size that the theme uses. Do not just use images that you took from your camera, took from your phone, took from a photographer that was sent over to you. Do not just upload those in. It will take longer and slow down your speed. So that is where we're talking about images. That is one of the biggest things. And so those are non-technical ways that you can improve your store's speed. Okay. Now, up next is going to be images. I mean, sorry, apps. Apps. We're talking apps now. Okay. So, managing your apps can make your website faster. Okay. So, every single app and extension that you add to your site can slow it down. Okay. So, I've been in thousands of Shopify stores. And when I get in there and I look at the apps and I just scroll, 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 right? Like there is way too many apps. And there are some apps that just work in the back end. Maybe it's going to be some printed something that helps you with, getting your orders into another system, or it's a shipping app that just works for you as an admin. Those are fine. But all of those apps that, one controls your pop-up, another one is flickering at the bottom of your site saying, 10 people looked at this product, flashing lights and, glaring sirens on a website. If there's a bunch of things that are going on and loading that need to load at the same time as your website, guess what? That's going to slow down the entire site and the entire page loading. So, even worse, if it's on every page will load slow. So we need to look at the apps that we're using. We need to choose lightweight apps. And we also need to see, I would say every month, go through your apps and see if you really are still using them or if they just are, don't make any sense anymore. I know as, running, doing marketing, it's exciting to look through the marketplace and see all these free apps that you can use to help market your website and make your products look better and, do all these great things that customers will love. But if you have too many of them going on at the same time, guess what? It slows down your pages. So I want you to be looking at looking at your website, looking at the back end of your website and determining if there are some themes that you could get rid of that you didn't work the way you thought. Maybe you downloaded, 5 different apps to try out, and eventually you only end up using one, but these others could still be having code in your website that is slowing it down. So, app management, okay? Evaluate those apps, choose lightweight apps, um, and review them and uninstall any that are not necessary. Okay. Um, all right. And then also make sure that the apps that you choose are well reviewed apps and that are known for being lightweight. So when you're in Shopify's app store and you are looking at different apps, look for reviews. Read the reviews. People will let you know if they put that app in and it slowed down their site or created issues with load times on their site, and take heed, okay? Make sure that you're reading those reviews. If they said it was lightweight, easy to use, didn't slow down my site, like those are the things that we really care about. Please make sure that you are reading those reviews and listen to your fellow Shopify owners who are going to tell and share with you if an app is too, creates your slowness on your pages. Okay. So we went through how to optimize images. Now we talked about apps, and now we're going to talk about your theme. Okay. So Shopify has free themes. You also have paid themes. Okay. And those themes are awesome. They allow our website to represent us with our colors, our designs. Some are built for specific markets and they're just known to perform well. But your theme selection and choices of customization can impact your website and its speed. Okay. So you want to the first thing out of the box, it must be responsive. As a matter of fact, there should be no more themes that are not responsive. That's so 10 years ago. Okay. So, everything needs to be responsive. If it's not responsive, you don't want it. And then it needs to be fast loading. Okay. It needs to be a fast loading theme. Some themes are actually optimized for speed. So when you choose your theme, you need to look for information about load times, and read reviews of existing Shopify owners who are happy to tell you that the theme either loaded slow or it loaded fast. So we just said it needs to be responsive and it needs to be fast loading and it should be optimized for theme. I mean, optimized for speed if it can be. And you need to be reading the reviews as well as in the description of the theme if they say that the theme is optimized for speed and has is fast loading, as well as other Shopify users sharing their thoughts about how this theme is with regards to speed. Okay. Now, the thing that many store owners think that they need is custom features, okay? So when you install custom features and designs into your site, it does make it unique. It makes your site stand out. It really can. I understand that we think about something, we understand how users use our site, and we start to think about customizations. I've seen people customize free themes. I've seen people customize paid themes. That's fine. But, when you customize your features and your designs, um, that can make your sites unique, but it can also slow down your site. Okay. And so you need to be mindful that there needs to be a balance between the two, between aesthetics and speed. Okay. So, the other thing that I do want to bring about when you customize your theme is that, what I understand is sometimes when you customize a theme, you have a developer customize your theme. It doesn't always, update as well when they roll out updates or improvements that you can just hit the install buttons. Like you can't hit the install button because it might erase or break your customizations or custom designs. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's all the cases everywhere. I used to work at a multi-million dollar company and we had so many customizations to our code that we ended up being 2 years behind in making updates. Like it took so long to actually implement an update. Now, obviously, as if you're a small Shopify store, you don't have probably those types of issues, but there are some customizations that you actually need to go back to a developer and say, hey, I want to update my theme. And then same thing, if you want to change your theme, let's say you found a theme that represents you better, you're going to have to go to a developer and ask them to now take the customizations that you had in your old theme and roll them into your new theme, right? So, I mean, it really, really has to be something that really makes you stand out, really offers something different than what you're getting, when what your competitors are doing. And it really, you just have to be mindful about the speed. Okay. So we talked about image optimization, app management for faster sites, and now theme selection and customization. Okay. So you really also want to avoid excessive custom features because it can slow your site down. So that's what we were talking about there. Okay. So make sure your site is responsive, which honestly, I don't know any theme that is not responsive at this point. If it is, stay far, far away and make sure that the theme is loading fast and also really avoid excessive custom features. Okay. So if it's like, oh, well, I need this and I need that, and you're constantly having to have a developer do the work, then you may want to be, making sure that your site is still very fast, okay? Because every second that is added onto your site decreases your conversion rates, right? And that's what we're really talking about. The whole purpose of this whole conversation is to make sure we have higher conversion rates, okay? All right. Now, the next thing is your product page optimizations, okay? All right. So, if you have a lot of products, which I know a lot of people do, even when I'm thinking of like your You have your product pages. If you want to really limit the number of products per page, okay, and so that probably could also, be about your collection pages too. Is that you want to have, make sure that you limit the number. So, let's say, sometimes, obviously we have the ability to have pagination on our pages, on our collections, okay, and during that setup when you're deciding like how many pages products can be shown on a page. If that's available in your theme, then you want to basically say, you don't need like 100, or it's 30, right? So you people on their phone, first of all, if you have like four images or four products going across on a collection page, when you have look on it on your phone, it all is going to shift and they're going to be stacked, right? And so, at most you'll get two, but oftentimes just one product. So now you have to scroll through 25 or 30, 40, 50 products on that collection page to get to the bottom just to hit next, right? But all of those images, everything have to actually load. Okay. And so that is really where it can impact your mobile users. Okay. So limit the number of products per page. Whether, like when you're thinking on your phone, how many products do you need to see on a collection page? I really would say maybe 10, 25 at the most, which still feels a really high, but if you notice that your pages are loading slower, your collection pages are loading slower, this is one of the options that you can use. Make sure that you have pagination, that your pages say next, 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 right? And then that you can lower the number of products per page in those collections, okay? That will reduce the initial loading time for your customers, make them happier, right? Now, the other thing is that some people, Google implemented the loading more. It's like when you get to the bottom, it automatically continues to load. I think that's pretty cool instead of there being pagination. But at the end of the day, the goal is improving the speed of your pages and giving customers a better user experience. Okay. All right. Now, we have covered a lot of things here. And the next one, we're going to just talk about some tools that can help you. Some tools. Okay. So I see that, I see a couple people here in the chat asking some questions about um, how can they test their own speed and things like that. So we will talk about some mobile optimization and monitoring tools that will help your site speed up. Okay, so the first thing is uh, the majority of people use mobile to go to websites. If you're reaching people who are, probably 40 and above, they probably are getting on their phone. They might see things on their phone, whether it's from ads and things like that. And if your products are a little bit more expensive, they may choose to come back on a computer where they can see it in more detail. That could be anybody doing that. But oftentimes what can happen is the first experience is on mobile. And so that means that if it's slow loading on mobile, you're just leaving kind of a little feeling of not so happiness to those people who came to your site. And there are times where they just won't come back because they understand. It's like, oh, that site was so slow, and I waited and I waited and and sometimes it's like, what did I wait for? I waited for this image, and the image wasn't even worth all of that. So you need to be making sure that the things that you're doing are good for both mobile and desktop. And there are many options where you can turn off certain things where it just doesn't show on mobile. Okay. So you may have experiences where it's like, okay, they're at home, they're on a desktop, and they're probably connected to Wi Fi and have the ability to get faster load times. And then there's times where you don't know that. And so, but Shopify knows. Okay. And so there's where you can say, you know what, skip this, skip loading these things if they're on mobile, right? Which will help your mobile page load faster. Okay. I use HubSpot, and HubSpot will say, oh, do you want to load this large image only for desktop and not for mobile? I opt to say, yes, I do. I prefer to do that. um, there's just different options there, and make sure that you're understanding what that means and why you would use that. Okay. So if you have those opportunities to look at your site at desktop versus mobile, there may be times where you can remove certain sections of your page. Maybe it's on your homepage or certain things that you could remove on mobile that doesn't really make a buying, doesn't really help the buyer. It just makes it prettier, right? Prettier is fine. It's great for desktop as long as it's not slowing it down. But there are times where you can remove that so that mobile users have a better experience. Okay. Now, you can test your site on mobile. More and more shopping is done on mobile devices. So you want to test your site on various mobile devices to ensure that it loads quickly and it looks good. Okay. Now, Shopify offers some tools. Um, there's different tools obviously that you can use. Now you can still see your site using Microsoft Clarity. It talks about your load times. It will show, I think I saw on one site recently where I was looking at the videos on Microsoft Clarity, and it showed a product page. It took 8 seconds to load because they were loading this video on the product page. So we may not realize that. And also, things can be cached. And so when we go to our website, we may assume that it is running quickly when it's not. Those images have already been cached by us. So it is good to just pop on and see your phone on your own site. There are mobile tools. You can use Google Page Speed Insights that will tell you even what exactly is slowing down your pages. And like I said, it's gonna likely be the things that we just talked about. It's gonna be apps, it's gonna be images. Those are really the biggest things that slow down the page, as well as limiting the number of products that are loading on your homepage, your collection page, really just if we're bogging that down. Okay. So those are the things that are so, so important. There are tools out there, um, and you can take a look at some different ones. But really the mobile testing tools, there's a lot of them out there. A lot of people use Selling I think, and but there are some different tools out there. You just Google mobile testing tools. There's none that I definitely feel like is just so perfect that I would recommend it. But I definitely have used Browser Stack. That used to be one that I used. And I would definitely, what you can do is you can set it to automatically test across all these browsers, including mobile devices, and then view what it looks like, how long it took, the experience, and make sure that you're seeing what they're seeing. Okay. But you can definitely test that out. But listen. Improving that load time for your Shopify store does not have to be a technical challenge. And by following these tips that we gave you today, can create a faster, more satisfying experience for your customers, which can translate into increased sales and conversions. So remember, a fast loading site not only keeps your current customers happy, but it also helps you rank higher in the search engines and bring you new customers to your store. So I hope that you enjoyed these great tips, and I hope you implement as many as you can to keep your store loading as fast as possible. Thank you for joining us on our Wednesday Lunch and Learn. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned some great tips here today. And join us again next Wednesday at 12 Eastern Time, and we will be going over more ways to improve your conversion rate. Thank you.